Effective teachers plan their lessons carefully in advance. They're also clear about what the objective is for each individual lesson. We also know that highly effective teachers communicate those objectives to their learners at the start of the lesson. For example, they tell the children what they will understand by the end of the lesson and what they will know. It can also help with progress and attainment to explain to the children what they will be able to achieve by the end of the lesson, what they'll actually be able to do as a result of the learning that they've had. By doing this, a teacher is able to return to that learning during the lesson and keep the children on track, making sure they know exactly what it is they're supposed to be doing. In this video, we're going to see a teacher explain the lesson objectives about an area of human geography to do with rural and urban migration. He's going to go through the lesson objectives at the beginning of the lesson and clearly explain what will be achieved by the end. We're also going to see how he returns to those lesson objectives during the lesson to help the children feel motivated and recognise what they're achieving. And finally, we're going to see a plenary, an end of a lesson, during which the teacher will return to what was achieved and also put that lesson in the context of the series of lessons that will be taught over the next few weeks.
Thanks for doing that. That was good. Now we're going into the start of the lesson now. I'm going to share with you the learning objectives for today. We're not starting a brand new topic today. It's something we're picking up on some work that we've already done, but we're going to deepen our understanding today. The first lesson objective is we're going to understand the diversity of cities. We're going to look at how different sorts of communities can make up one city. We're going to know about rural to urban migration in developing countries, which of course is picking up on some of the work we've done previously. And finally, by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to begin writing a written response to a key question. And I'm thinking there of the examinations which will be sitting soon. So we're going to start that work at the end of this lesson today. Are those objectives clear to everybody? Yes. Thank you. Okay, the first thing that I'd like to do is I'm going to show you a photograph. And when you see that photograph, I want you to generate, on your own, some questions. I want you to think of some questions you may have about the photograph. So I don't want you to shout out, I don't want you to do anything like that, I just want you to look and think. Is that okay? Everyone can do that? Okay, here it is. So, what questions are already emerging in your minds about this photograph? What I'm going to ask you to do now, I'm going to give you some post-it notes. And what I'd like you to do is, on your tables, I'm going to ask you to generate some questions about this photograph. I want you to generate some questions that are going to dig a little deeper, that are going to look at this photograph, but really ask some really good questions about it. Not just questions about how tall is the building, because we could probably find that out somewhere else. And we're looking at it, of course, from a human geography point of view. So I'm very interested in the questions around perhaps the people here. Okay, so I'm going to give out some post-it notes, and I'm only going to give you perhaps 2 or 3 minutes to do this. Okay, so you need to decide who's writing the questions down, and you're going to have to talk for a moment about the best questions you can get. Okay, have you got any questions about the task? Okay.
As well as explaining the lessons really clearly at the start of a lesson, it's also a good idea to display them somewhere, by having them on the board, for example. Remembering not to have too many lesson objectives, perhaps having no more than 3 key ones for a lesson can be much easier for the learners to understand. It's also a good idea to refer back to those early on and check for understanding, so that you're sure as a teacher that the children know exactly what it is that they're going to do and how they're going to do it. In the next part of the lesson, you'll see the teacher do exactly that. And he does it by asking some really interesting questions and challenging the learners to think about a photograph from an urban area. You'll also see how he refers back to the lesson objectives, again to check for clarity and understanding.
If you want to talk about the questions, you can.
How many questions have we got here? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Just stop for a moment, please, and can you all look at the board? I've just put the objectives for this lesson back up. I want to check your understanding of some of the words, some of the key words that I've used in these objectives, because as I've been walking around and listening to you, I'm not sure if you're all understanding these words. So can I just check, please? The first phrase really is the first lesson objective, diversity of cities. Can someone just sum up what we mean by a diverse city, a city of diversity? Okay.
Does it mean like the different type of people that live in the city?
The different types of people who might live in the city. Could anyone add to that, please? That's good. Is there anything else that we can do to help there? Yeah.
The division between the two types of people, like diversity, like divide, division. Like.
So this idea, you bring in there an idea of division, but there's lots and lots of different types of communities perhaps living in one place. Lots of different communities from perhaps other countries have come to one city. The other thing I just wanted to check, or the other keywords I wanted to check with you in my lesson objectives, is this idea of rural to urban migration. Now I know that you know this because we've done it before, but can someone just sum up very quickly, what do we mean by this? Go on.
Is it the net movement of people from an area of agricultural land to an area of like city, a more urban area?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Did everyone hear that? And does everyone remember us covering that